How much does childcare cost, and how to actually afford it? A parenting guide from Creative Minds Montessori. If your childcare bill rivals your mortgage, you are not bad with money. In most states, center care for 2 kids costs more than a typical mortgage payment. Before you decide you can't afford it, chase every tool, a dependent care FSA, the tax credit, state vouchers, and a flat-rate au pair or nanny share for 2+ kids, and spend on quality and a stable team rather than the cheapest slot, because consistency is the part that actually helps your child. Start with the raw figure. The national average price of childcare ran about $13,000 a year in 2025, up roughly 29% since 2020, faster than general inflation. Care for 2 children in a center exceeds median rent in essentially every state with data, beats a mortgage in most states, and tops in-state public college tuition in a majority of them. Here's what parents never see on the invoice. Quality care is labor-intensive by law, infant and toddler ratios are deliberately low, so most of the tuition is staff wages. Yet those wages are low, which drives churn. Centers paying under about $10 an hour see roughly 23% annual staff turnover. High price, underpaid teachers, shrinking supply. Over half the country now lives in a childcare desert, and only about 15% of eligible children get a federal subsidy. And the true cost is bigger than the dollars leaving your account. There's an invisible unpaid tax, the income given up when a parent drops hours or leaves work because care costs as much as a second salary. That decision rarely falls evenly. Working mothers are about twice as likely as fathers to be the one who cuts back. Cost is rarely a standalone problem, it's the hinge other decisions swing on. Paid childcare in America is old. Formal day nurseries date to at least 1854. But so is the guilt attached to it. From the 1850s well into the 1900s, doctors and reformers pushed the idea that children were harmed if mothers worked, and around 1900 the fashionable fix was mothers' pensions, paying a mother to stay home rather than fund care. The guilt many working parents feel today was, quite literally, manufactured more than a century ago. There was one moment the country did it differently. During World War II, the Lanham Act funded the first near-universal federal childcare, roughly 550,000 children, with parents paying only about 50 to 75 cents a day for up to 12 hours, hot meals and nurses included. The economy had noticed care was infrastructure. Then in 1945, with the war won, Congress killed the funding, and care became scarce and expensive again, where it has largely stayed. What the phone adds is not a new problem but a louder one. Price transparency and forum threads mean you now see everyone else's bills, waitlist horror stories, and we pay 3 college tuitions posts, so the burden feels heavier. Used well, the same connectivity helps. It's easier to find a dependent care FSA, search subsidy eligibility, or get daily updates from a center app. Used badly, it just broadcasts the scarcity in real time. Here are 3 common moves, honestly. The first, one parent leaves work or goes part-time, most common in the infant year. When a second income barely clears the daycare bill, staying home can look like a wash. But it rarely is. You lose retirement contributions, raises, promotions, and an easy path back in, and because mothers are about twice as likely to step out, the career hit lands unequally. If you do, pairing it with school or training softens re-entry. The second move, cheaper care models, nanny share, au pair, or grandparents. 2 families splitting one nanny, or a flat-rate au pair at about $20,000 a year regardless of how many kids, can undercut center tuition, especially for 2+ children. The catch, an au pair is a stranger in your home on a 1-year visa, which means a brand new primary caregiver every year, exactly the continuity problem that undermines the point. And grandparents burn out. The third move, use the tax and benefit tools. A dependent care FSA spends pre-tax dollars on care, with the limit rising to $7,500 in 2026, saving a middle-bracket family 20 to 30 cents on the dollar, and the child care credit returns up to $1,000 or $2,000. The catch, the FSA is use it or lose it, so over-electing forfeits the rest, and fewer than half of private sector workers even have access to one. Hold this as a tendency, not a rule. The mental load of childcare is lopsided. Mothers handle roughly 71% of the household's cognitive labor. Fathers tend to own episodic, decision-type tasks, while mothers do more of the anticipating and monitoring, who's on which waitlist, when tuition is due, whether this center still fits. That invisible monitoring is exactly what a spreadsheet line for daycare never captures, and it's why cost conversations get tense. The fix isn't a lecture, it's visibility. Name the 2 jobs out loud, then put the invisible list somewhere both partners actually see it, a shared calendar or budget, and split by ownership rather than vague helping. One partner owns tuition and FSA enrollment, the other owns pickup logistics and center communication. For a solo parent, the tools matter even more, and so does recruiting a steady second adult into the system. The principle underneath all 3 methods is one reframe. You're not buying hours of supervision, you're buying quality and continuity, and everything else optimizes around that, not instead of it. Decide what good looks like first, then make it affordable. Don't start from cheapest and hope. The first method, buy quality and continuity first, then optimize price around it. Care only helps development when it's high quality and consistent, and the reverse can hurt. High-quality early education links to stronger reading and math and higher adult earnings. Turnover alone leaves a mark. Children who lose teachers show smaller vocabulary and literacy gains. A young child's growth runs on stable, trusted relationships, and every caregiver reset spends some of that down. So invert the usual order. Rank your candidate arrangements by quality and staff stability. Ask each place its turnover rate and how long the teachers in your child's room have been there, before you rank them by price. Only then bring the cost tools to bear, to afford the best quality option you realistically can. Fewer hours in excellent care often beat more hours in mediocre care. And don't yo-yo the child between the cheapest spots that keep opening up. Choosing once and staying is the developmental asset. The second method, right-size the dollars with tools before assuming you can't afford it. What leaks onto kids isn't the tuition figure, it's the financial stress around it, so lowering your true net cost protects the child too. Run the tools in order, elect a dependent care FSA carefully, claim the childcare credit for eligible expenses, and check your state's subsidy or voucher eligibility even if you assume you won't qualify, then pre-confirm which local centers accept vouchers. One parent's weekly cost fell from $250 to about $11 once she found a center that took hers. The beauty of this method is that it's invisible to your child by design. You're changing the bill, not their day. Keep the routine and the place stable while you optimize the financing behind them. The worst outcome is disrupting a child's world to save money you could have found in the tax code. Run the numbers once a year, and treat "we can't afford it" as a hypothesis to test with tools, not a conclusion. Sometimes the money really does dictate a new arrangement, and here the whole method is introducing it gently, because a child's distress at a new setting is normal and it's your calm that regulates them. Visit the new place together several times before day one, shift the home routine to match in advance, send a comfort object, and build a short, consistent goodbye ritual, never sneak out, which teaches them to watch you instead of trusting the place. Tell the new teachers how your child eats, naps, and warms up, so the care is continuous across the change. Expect a couple of rough weeks, that's adjustment, not a mistake. This is where the price tag finally makes sense, because what a good program sells isn't hours, it's a system of care. A well-run center brings trained observation, teachers who read where each child is and meet them there, steady routines, a second set of eyes, and the peer social learning a solo nanny or grandparent can't provide. That specialized training and teacher retention is a big part of why quality care costs more, and the developmental payoff is what you're actually paying for. The cheapest only option makes the opposite trade, and the hidden cost is continuity. When a center churns through underpaid staff, or an au pair resets every year, the child keeps losing the trusted relationships that make care work. So the product you're really buying is communication flowing three ways. You tell the center what's happening at home. The center tells you real daily observations, not just good day, and the child is looped in, told what to expect, their goodbye ritual honored. When you tour any program, ask directly, how long have the teachers in this room been here, and how will I hear what you saw today? There's no single arrangement that fits every child or family. The right spend depends on your child's temperament, your finances, your values, and what actually exists where you live. Even the experts hedge on whether premium care is worth it. But the evidence lets us say this plainly: quality and continuity matter more than the logo or the price, and a calm, financially steadier parent is better for a child than a slightly fancier room. Use the tools, ask the hard questions, and choose without guilt. The century-old story that a working parent is failing their child is not a fact about your child. For the full guide and more parenting resources, visit creativemindsmontessori.com/parenting.